Oh,
controversial,
actually,
but
no. Speaking
we
of
should, yeah,
Speaking of skin suits.
if we're
those
gonna
kinds of things,
if we're gonna
yeah,
say speaking of skin suits, I'm gonna say we need to talk about the next topic.
exactly. That's exactly
Yeah.
why we ordered it this way. Yes, perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is actually your plan to put Queen
Yes.
COVID as in the beginning, as where we talk about good. Okay, great.
Because obviously the trucker convoys, they love shit about that, right? They love to be like, oh, there's a cabal of pedophile elites who are ruling us, and they're probably aliens in a skin suit, right? So the people who are part of that, the people who are part of the trucker convoy that we're going to be talking about now
First of
is
all,
like, yeah.
I have a pet peeve, and I would like to announce it to everyone. So, if you, first of all, chat, who knows of this truck? Press 1 if you know the deal with the trucker convoy or the Ottawa convoy, Ottawa uprising, whatever terminology. Press 1 if you know what that is, you know about it, or press 0 if you don't.
That's a lot of ones.
Well, because I've been
Flu
talking about
Trucks Clan.
Yeah. I think it has been dominating news cycles.
Okay, so a lot of people know. We will do a quick rundown on what it is. If you want to know, see really good coverage on the Ottawa thing, I highly recommend watching Rob Rousseau's channel. He's been covering this a lot and doing a really great job at it.
Yes.
But I wanted to announce that I have a huge issue calling it a trucker convoy because you are accepting fascist framing. The framing of fascist is that this is a convoy of truckers. Now, that's not actually true. That's not actually true. The vast majority of people are not truckers, but they are petite bourgeois SUV owners or something. So they either own trucking companies or they just own companies that are not trucking related. And they're just, it's like a January 6th like collection type of like people. Like same demographics, same occupations. They are not truckers. Please do not like adopt the framing that fascists have given you. It's so tricky because sometimes you'll think you are rejecting it, but in actuality, there are still bits. You're like, okay, I'm taking the name, but then I'm going to reject your framing. But the name is part of the framing in this case. So, yeah, I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, totally. And it's the same thing down here, like, you know, like the convoy that we've had that is kind of that emulated the Canadian one. Like I was looking at it and there was like maybe like a handful of trucks and the rest are just like these gigantic expensive SUVs that are like, you know, they don't even have any like mud on them. They're like, you know, they're not
but they just bought it for the
like work
occasion.
vehicles or anything.
They're just like, it'd be so cool if I just got a new car for this one. You know, it'd be awesome. You show them to your friends.
And a lot of them sign written with like, you know, businesses or whatever like that. And it's like these are like, you know, business owners using their vehicles. And there was one dude I saw that was complaining on Facebook and someone had screenshotted it saying that his boss had taken his truck to join the convoy and that he couldn't work because, you know, he's like, oh, the boss that owns the company or whatever has taken my truck, so I got like a week off, which I think is kind of funny because it's like, you know, like give me your, you know, like give me your working class shit, like my fucking.
It's so horrific.
Yeah,
honestly.
DJ Chase says like the people who flew to DC on private planes for January 6th. Yeah, because we're so oppressed. I'm so oppressed. I'm flying there with my private plane.
Yeah.
So at the moment, we've had a similar thing where, you know, this convoy went down to the capital, Wellington, and there's been like a kind of occupation in the grounds around our parliament for like a week or so, just over a week now. And it's like a whole bunch of just, you know, like kind of anti-vax hippies, and there's all kinds of different groups. There's like a significant like far-right presence, like all of the major far-right groups of people there. There's like literally people there where it's like, oh yeah, this guy like firebombed a marae, which is like a, you know, traditional Maori kind of you know, like community center sort of thing. There's like another guy who's like notable for like mailing bombs to left-wing activists. There's like, you know, all these people, but there's like so many people that are just straight up millionaires, like that are there, you know, like there's like
millionaires. It breaks your
famous
heart.
Entertainers. There's like this wild turf woman who is like was one of the Real Housewives of Auckland, you know, like when we had that TV show. There's like this guy Russell Coots, who's like this like millionaire like yachting champion guy or whatever, just, you know, people like that. And it's like they're all staying in like hotels and shit, but like they come down and act as mascots, and they, you know, like whip up all the, you know, these like poor, misled working class people. And yeah, you know, and then they like go back to their things. But then, and it's like wild, like you know, there's like all these people that are like, we are the real patriots and all this kind of shit. And there's like, even like there's some Maori kind of like fringe groups that are kind of like their own whole weird thing. But and it's wild. They're taking over all of the grass area outside Parliament. They're kind of expanding out into the streets around it, harassing businesses, all this kind of stuff. They've converted the War Memorial Cenotaph into their bathroom, which has like been really like mind blowing for a lot of boomers that are like,
Wait,
you know, like
what?
that. Like, there's all these people like in New Zealand, like. Yeah. So like there's like this whole thing in New Zealand where like conservatives and stuff love the memory of like the Great War and, you know, the Anzac tradition and all this shit. And then they see like all these people that they agree with kind of going down there and like shitting on the war memorial, you know, as they occupy the space. So a lot of people are being like, what's going on? You know, it's like, but the whole thing is like, it like lacks any kind of real clear ideological kind of thing. It's like everyone down there they all believe in all different stuff, except for they all agree that they, you know, they don't like the vaccine mandates and stuff, and they're trying
they're mobilized but not organized, right?
Yeah. And so there are people down there that are trying to organize different factions to different ends or whatever, but like they've been giving out you know, like different groups have offered different kind of like lists of demands, and they're all different, but most of them are like very like they're unreasonable demands because they're intentionally unreasonable, because they're trying to, you know, they're trying to escalate. Like a lot of them, it's not just like about the mandates or anything. They're like, we'll only stop when we can have a Nuremberg style trial for, you know, like the prime minister and all the people. Or like most of them want to, like, they're just straight up, we want to dissolve the government and all this stuff like that. But it's like these are just people that, like, you know, a lot of them like they don't have any clear like path forward or ideas about what they want to do or anything. They're just like, we're here in the moment and we're gonna take down the government. And it's like it's very like, yeah, it's very January 6th
So
kind of thing.
what I want to know, sorry to cut you off, Tim, sorry, go on.
No, that's right.
So what I want to know is Canada actually doing vaccine passports? Are they actually doing that?
Well, yeah, so that's what I couldn't tell, because the thing down here is that it's like we have vaccine passports and stuff like that, but the mandates that a lot of them are protesting, most of the industries that they're complaining about are all like, it's all like a private thing, you know? It's like businesses are choosing to do it themselves, which is, you know, so they're like going down to the government to be like, no, you got to stop that. And it's like, I don't know if that's, you know, so that's what you want the government to have more control over businesses? Like, what do you, you know, like what's going on here?
Because like in the UK, when anti-vaxxers protest, they're just not bothered. Like, well, they are, but sorry, the government aren't bothered about vaccine mandates. They're not trying to do that. Like, they're actually actively ending lockdown early so that more people go and work and fucking die. Like, they're not bothered about that. And these anti-vaxxers are all like, you know, and there was like a convoy in the UK as well that went alongside the one in Canada, but it didn't materialize into anything nearly like what it is in Canada. And but it is all like, you know, we don't want any more lockdowns, and it's like, you're not getting any. Like, chill out. Like, you're actually you're getting what you want. You know, it's just so bizarre.
Well,
I see both.
I want to make sure we don't talk about like just random details about this too much, because we have Matilda's coming on in like less or about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So cool. Let's set this, because I do want, I would love for Matilda to be able to discuss with us what her, from her perspective, how to describe the difference between like a left-wing protest, a working class protest, organized working class protest, versus, which I know that is not her wheelhouse, but she is, you know, I feel like unions, someone who is an organizer for a union would have a really good grasp on like what a working class thing looks like versus, and like some of the definitive things, like for one, if you own a business, you're not working class. It's not working class then. And like shit like that. So like I wanted to make sure that we can set the stage for this before we go too far. But like, yeah, so basically what I wanted to get out is that what we'll call, I guess, the Ottawa uprisings. I know some of you have some funny names for it, but I know the funny names are less understandable for people who are just coming in. So like the
no
Ottawa
one's going to
uprising.
understand what Ram Ranch resistance
or like
means, do you know what I mean?
Occupation. Yeah. So like well, you might know it as the trucker convoy. Don't call it a trucker convoy. I really am. Please don't say that. Please do not adopt the framing of fascists to make it seem like this is in fact working class people, because they're trying to say that this is a working class thing, and there's all sorts of like, you know, some pretty people that describe themselves as progressive but end up just being fascist and allying with fascists. They're trying to insist that you like ally with these petite bourgeois dipshits who are horrible. Like they're not interested in working class people. They're not interested in expanding working class power. They're looking to diminish working class power. They are horrible business owners. So like I just want to make sure that we understand the basics of this. Basically it's a collection of trucks, or some semis, but mainly like SUVs and like private, just a bunch of small business owners and a smattering of working class truckers that are showing up they showed up in like one big cluster and honking their horns for like days, weeks, I don't know, to protest, quote unquote, that they have to wear a mask and get vaccinated. That's apparently what they're saying, although it seems like if you're showing up and you're flying a swastika flag, that I don't know if your problem is vaccines. I'm pretty sure your problem, you know, it's a code. It's just coded for just like any of these right-wing, you know, like forms of propaganda. It's typically not what the thing that it's typically not what they're telling you it is. Like the right doesn't.
Well, yeah, I think it was like initially they so what was it? It was like they were upset about the mandates coming in and saying that, you know, like because a lot of these people, you know, travel from America to Canada and back and stuff, and they said that, you know, like these mandates were gonna mess with them or whatever. So they actually got given an extension. The government said, okay, we've got until this point to figure it out or whatever, and then a bunch of them were like, you know, like a bunch of people just went and, you know, sorted it out. A bunch of others decided not to. And then the right wing kind of just saw the crack, and then they turned it into the whole culture war kind of thing, you know? And that's when it's become everything about the masks and all that kind of shit, which is exactly what's happened down here as well, you know? It's like just co-opted by like the worst kind of people and stuff. But yeah, I've seen a lot of people saying like, oh, you know, like a real communist would see all these working class people organizing down there, and they would go in and they would like, you know, they would steer the conversation towards the left or whatever, and then, you know, and like they would
this is
you know,
such
like
a non-reality thing to
say.
say.
It's just like
these are people
I saw someone talking about it on Twitter, and it's like one of those Reddit posts where everyone's like, oh yeah, and then I went down there and everyone clapped, and then, you know, like Obama was there and shit. It's like, this is not like reality, you know?
And
this
it's also super not safe. It's an extremely white guy thing to say. Yeah, I'm just gonna go there.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, guy who's sitting at the top of like every ID poll, like demographic, like whatever, like you're not talking. How dare you say to the masses without any sort of like clarification that you should in fact go to where Nazis are and try to tell them I'm a communist and here you have to hear me out on shit. Like that is not safe for people. For the record,
you will end up getting.
They will be like,
chinned.
"Thank you for bringing yourself to us. You will be the first to be thrown out of a helicopter."
They try to find you to hurt
you.
Know, like you're going over there and be like, "Yeah, I heard on the internet my favorite debate pro said I should fucking debate you in the marketplace of ideas and you be on our team." It's like you're living in a fantasy land.
I said this to fucking someone. Sorry, Tim. Go on.
I was gonna say there's a reason why, you know, like all of like the really successful kind of like, you know, like socialist, communist kind of movements over the years have started with education, you know, community education, reading, you know, teaching working class people about these things. You can't just go in there and be like, hey, actually, I'm a communist and we can overthrow the government and then we can do communism. And no one's gonna be like, yeah, that's a good idea. Like, you know, I've, you know, lived an entire life being, you know, like brainwashed by fucking, you know, like Yankee propaganda about how communism is evil. But, you know, thank you, based Redditor, for telling me, you know, like it's like, no, it doesn't, it's just absolutely not going to work like that.
And it's absolutely hilarious because like the kind of fascists that you get in the UK are literally like on steroids, on cocaine, like pissed up on lager, like all together, a bunch of just like red-faced gammon bastards. You try and debate those in the marketplace of ideas, bro.
Yeah.
See how it goes, man. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not
And,
gonna
like,
go
for
the
so
way that
many of
you
them,
want it.
for so many of them, like anti-communism is their main thing. Like for a lot of these groups, that's
Yeah.
literally what holds them together. That's the glue that keeps them together. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, even more so than like the anti-vax, anti-mandate stuff like that. You know, you get like these white supremacist groups and, you know, just other kind of like far-right dickheads or whatever, and they all, you know, like they agree on some things, disagree on others, but most of them are just gonna have this like anti-communist streak that binds them together. You know, it's like you can't just show up and be like, you know, like, good evening, fellow proletarians.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Just the same proletariat, you'll get chinned. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I want to read Rob's comments. And again, I want, if mods could shout out Rob Rousseau. He's been doing so much good work on this. Like, I cannot like express enough how
I just
like,
love it how it's like, it always comes back to Rob.
It does.
Just like, oh,
It
yeah,
really
Rob's in the
does.
chat. Like, yeah,
I can't wait
shout
for him
out
to be on
Rob,
the show so we can get rid of all this. Just get it all out, and then we can just go back to, you know, forgetting about Rob Rousseau. But as it stands, we are acknowledging Rob Rousseau. He's been doing so much good coverage on this. Rob Rousseau, a Canadian, actual Canadian, too. So that's a valuable, oppressed perspective that we need to center and uplift.
Yes.
But I want to read some of his comments. He says, hard to underestimate how much this has tortured people who live and work on this area for weeks now. Yeah, because these so-called working class movement is terrorizing service workers,
really
screaming in their
appreciate
face, like coughing in their face, refusing to respect, and even like, it's not even just, it's disrespectful, obviously. It's traumatic, but it's also like infecting people with COVID. Like, and I'm sure there's people that are gonna die because of these dipshits, these assholes.
Yeah.
Just horrible. So no, there's not a working class. You don't see a working class movement that's going around terrorizing service workers. Also, he says, like many of these folks came from the organized Islamophobia movement from 2017. They're literally the same people. Yes. And so like yes. So it's not a working class uprising. It is a petite bourgeoisie temper tantrum that is trying to masquerade itself as a working class thing. Same with Trump, you know, same with all these faux populists, or, you know, these faux populists that try to insist that they are one of the people and they're fighting against the elite, when in actuality they are trying to manipulate people into believing that so they can further their own slice of the pie, or have a bigger slice of the pie.
That's the exact same thing that's happening down here. You know, and there's like these people that have been, you know, like organized with all kinds of other things. Like some of the speakers have been like well-known TERFs, well-known like Islamophobes. There's like, you know, people down there that were implicated with the Christchurch shooting, people that, you know, were visited by police, people that have done jail time for their associations with that. Like even some of these groups, in their list of demands, it's like free the Christchurch shooter and stuff like that, you know? And they're working alongside, you know, like people that are, you know, from like Maori protest groups, like, you know, reactionary ones and stuff like that. But then, you know, it's like, it's fucking wild. Like the pedigree of some of these people, you know, like one of the leaders is this guy, Kyle Chapman, who's, you know, been the head of the National Front, like the biggest the most long-standing white supremacist group in New Zealand for fucking decades, you know? And it's like, all these people, it's like, we know who these people are, we know what they're here to do, and they're here to expand their own kind of platform, expand their following. There's a guy like this, like, who runs the New Conservatives political party. Him and his daughter have been there trying to take over as the official organizers, and like doing pretty well at kind of getting people on board for their cause. But funnily enough, though, last night there was some police activity at the camp that they've been doing, and now they've all turned on him because he was talking to the police, and now they're like, oh, he sold us out. So I kind of love the idea that it's backfiring because they're all just like all over the place, you know? But yeah, like these people are there to further their own ambitions, you know? Like, and there's new grifters popping up. There's even like a bunch of these like self-styled kind of like wellness grifters and stuff that are there doing weird shit. Like, seen some people doing like these weird public like rituals that are like basically like they're pretending like it's some traditional Maori thing, but it's not. Like they're just, you know, using words that don't make sense and doing weird like Pentecostal like laying on hands kind of shit. And it's like, these people, like, this is like, they're making this into a career, you know, like they want to, like, they don't care about, like, they're probably, some of them are probably even vaccinated and shit, like they don't give a fuck. They're here to control the conversation and push their own careers and stuff.
Well,
It's like fucking, it's the same all over the place.
I think we could probably, we're a little 5 minutes over bringing Matilda in. I think we can bring Matilda in. And also, chat, by the way, we're working with a new form of videoing in which I'm using this website that is called OBS Ninja. It's free, and it's, if anyone looking into it, it's allowing me to like send people links and then they can send their video feed in. And so we're giving it a try run so far, and so far it's working, I think, which is great. And so we're gonna see if it works.
Looks great, yeah.
See if it works for when Matilda comes in. So
yeah.
But maybe we should bring Matilda in right now. I don't know if she's ready, but
yeah, she's in the waiting room.
She's in the waiting room. I can pull her over.
Okay.
Pull her right on in. Let's go.
I'm gonna jump in, and I'm gonna just check in and see that she's okay, and then we'll
okay, yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, sweet, that's fine.
Yeah.
Do all Chapmans suck? That name's ringing a bell. Well, it's interesting that it's Kyle. We have a Kyle Rittenhouse. We have a Kyle Chapman. We have a lot of shitty Kyles, and this is even more evidence to the fact. No, seriously, there's even more evidence to the fact, or that Karen is not a gender neutral or like not a sexist, misogynistic attack. Like it's. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, there are shitty white women out there, obviously. But the idea that it's not sexist when we see shitty white men with the name Kyle, a lot of people tell me, and when I say there's no male version of Karen, they're like, yeah, there is. It's Kyle. I'm like, no, it is, yeah. Or it's Ken. And they'll say these things when all these people disagree. They're always disagreeing with each other, what is the male equivalent of Karen? It's nothing, as evidenced by the fact that we have multiple publicly notoriously horrible Kyles out there that still no Kyle trend. There's no Kyle compilations on YouTube.
No, not at all. It is
nothing.
Right.
I agree.
And as you will soon find out, you cannot defeat an enemy that you cannot see.